God was saying to Job, there is a grander scheme that you cannot see. One day you will see it. One day your eyes will be open and you will understand it. But until that day happens, you need to trust me because I am God. And so that is the lesson here God was trying to teach Job. God is God. And through those valleys, as Job went through that valley, as we go through valleys here on this earth, we need to remember that God is God, and we need to trust God because someday we will get out of that valley and God will open our eyes to a deeper understanding. Now, if there was a group of people in the New Testament who were greatly impacted by an unexpected answer, an unexpected response, it was the disciples. On the way to Jerusalem, as Jesus had his eyes focused on the cross, he knew he was heading to the cross. Two of the disciples came up to him, James and John, and they said to him that they wanted to have power in his kingdom. That they wanted to be authorities in his kingdom, one on the right, one on the left. They wanted to have the authority that rulers have, managers in worldly kingdoms have. Immediately, Jesus understood that they had a misconception of what God's kingdom was all about. They were thinking politically. They wanted the power and prestige granted to administrators in this worldly kingdom. Here's the dilemma Jesus faced. He knew these two brothers and the rest of the disciples had the ability, had the mettle to take the responsibility and endure the sufferings that they would endure as leaders in God's kingdom. He knew that they would be good leaders. But how could he alter their perspective to help them understand the difference between exercising power in a worldly kingdom and ministering grace in God's kingdom? How was he going to do that? Well, here's the unexpected response he gave to them. Jesus called them together and said, "You know those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first among you must be slaves of all." Wow, that is such an important lesson. Leaders in God's kingdom serve. Leaders in God's kingdom learn to sacrifice. Leaders in God's kingdom give of themselves. Leaders in God's kingdom deny themselves and put the needs of others before theirs. When the disciples began to grasp the traits and the qualities of this kind of leadership, they saw a very different kind of kingdom compared to the kingdoms of this world. They began to understand that God's kingdom was on a whole new level. Many of the leaders and elected officials in this world enrich themselves because of their position, and often they do that illegally. However, leaders in God's kingdom pour out their lives for other people. Many worldly leaders and elected officials deceive and lie to gain power. However, leaders in God's kingdom will speak the truth and speak encouraging words to lift others up instead of deceiving. Leaders in worldly kingdoms invest their lives and their time in a kingdom that is not going to last. But leaders in God's kingdom invest their lives in something that's going to transcend this world into eternity. That unexpected response from Jesus helped to elevate these disciples to a level where they could begin to understand from a new perspective what God's kingdom was all about. And that motivated them to invest their lives in God's kingdom. Today, Jesus speaks these same words to us. The Lord wants to raise us up to another level so that we can gain that perspective of what God's kingdom is all about. And when that understanding begins to crystallize in our minds, we become motivated. Motivated to serve. Motivated to help, to give, to meet the needs of others and establish a kingdom that's going to last beyond this world. And this is what I truly believe. When God moves you and I to help someone in need, that act of goodness, that act of love lives on beyond this world. That is an act of God's kingdom. When you visit someone who is hurting and you uplift that person because God moved you to do that, that act of kindness is an eternal building block that we add to the building of the city of God. And I sum it up like this. What is good, what is compassionate, what is kind, what is of God is eternal. So, may we embrace Jesus' unexpected answer, unexpected response, so that we can become servants in God's kingdom. That way, we will build something eternal in this temporary world. Amen. Let's turn to our final hymn, 497, Near to the Heart of God.
Upon you and give you peace.